Hello and welcome to another great episode of Adventures in Entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Jared. This is Captain Clay, and we're going to help you navigate the tricky waters of entrepreneurship.
Today, just want to throw it out there in the studio. Right now we're in the process of a move, and there's not really what we would call AC. Some people call it AC, but I call it AC. And we don't have the old, it is hot in here. So if it's a deal where I'm sweating or he's sweating, it's not because we are so attracted to each other or that we're attracted to you. It just happens to be kind of a temperature thing.
Well, I think it just plays in well what we're talking about today. We're looking at chapter 11 of your book, a typical day of an American entrepreneur. I'll learn how to talk one of these days. Waking up each day with the odd sensation that your hair is on fire.
That's the sound of fire.
Wow. So, Clay, let me just ask this. What is the most important thing for an entrepreneur to do to put the fire out?
Well, when you wake up as an entrepreneur, this happens all the time. When I used to run the DJ business on the daily level, I'd wake up every day going, are we missing a wedding? I mean, all the time. I'd wake up. Sunday I woke up and I just, I mentor with a guy. We get up at 5:30 in the morning on Sundays. Every Sunday we meet at 5:30. So I meet at 5:30 and, oh my gosh, am I forgetting something? You know what I mean? You always have that feeling. So that's part of it, because you have a lot of responsibilities. If you own an airline, if you own an auto detailing company, shine on a dime, buy stuff from them. They keep your car clean, really clean. Anyway, but it's a deal where you're going to go, am I forgetting a detail? Am I forgetting a wedding? Am I forgetting to, you just have that feeling, should I check my emails? So you always have that. But the second thing is that you're definitely going to feel like your soul is burning and that you are just headed to the bottom of the virtual Hades on earth if you have no money when you have to go to the grocery store. And because you're an entrepreneur, no one's like, well, $8.50 an hour is what you can count on, buddy. Let me tell you that, because you work for yourself. We're going to pay you $8.50 an hour. It doesn't happen. In fact, you can make no dollars per hour. And in fact, you can lose money. I met with a lady a couple weeks ago, and at the end of the month, we were going through some of the totals. And at the end of the month, more money had been spent than what had been earned as profit. So you ask yourself, should I have spent the last 160 hours just setting, finding those hard to find $2 bills and just setting those on fire and just for the last, maybe one a day for the last 40 days? I mean, that's the kind of thing that entrepreneurs deal with if they're not generating business. So the first thing you can do to put your hair, the fire that's on your hair out, is you need to get your marketing and your sales figured out. You need to have like an unbelievable amount of inquiries coming in where you can then start to figure out how to make your service better and how to wow people, but you've got to get that stream going. You know what I mean? I like it don't worry about building a dam until you have a little bit of river action. You know what I mean? If you're watching this and you live in somewhere other than Oklahoma, Oklahoma is the tourist capital of the world, mind you. But if you live anywhere other than Oklahoma, the Arkansas River that we have here, it's a river that doesn't have water, so it's like a moving sandbar. It just is, and you feel like you're watching the earth erode slowly over time. It moves down like magma, And you probably don't want to build a dam, though, if that's your revenue stream, until you've got something flowing there, So I would just encourage you, don't build the dam in terms of building a dam that built like the service mapping, and don't build your workflows and deal with all the accounting and all that until you have a river of sales coming in. So your first thing you can do is make sure you have a river of sales flowing in, your marketing refined before you do anything else. That'll put the fire out at least. You'll just have a little bit of chafing.
Awesome. Now, in helping put this fire out, how many hours per week should the typical entrepreneur work?
Oh gosh, you're not going to like this. If you're watching this, you're a new business, and I mean this, I'm not talking about forever. Just talking about right now. Okay, think about it. If you're going to play basketball, obviously as a kid, my goal was to dunk. I got where I could dunk a volleyball, and then a girl's basketball, and then I could just barely get a guy's basketball. On certain courts, I could do the two-hand, but very rarely. But that was my obsession. I wore the Jump Soles shoes, that help you jump better, and was doing calf raises and leg presses, and I never clocked myself at how much time I was spending. And I would argue to be becoming exceptional at anything, you've got to be obsessed with that thing for a while. I'm not talking about forever, but you've got to be, there's a book called The Tipping Point, And the whole book is about how Bill Gates and Oprah and outstanding musicians, how they become great by obsessing on something and to the point of greatness. And he gives you a certain number of hours needed. I'm not going to give you that kind of information, but I am going to say 70 hours a week for like 6 weeks in a row. You know, to get it. I mean, to really get it. And then once you get it, you can calm down and get down to 45 or 40 or whatever. But you got to get that marketing system. It requires intensity. On the bakery last week on Wednesday, I think, I spent 6 hours just working on the workflow. Emails piling up, got like 15 text messages, got my headphones on, just trying. Seriously, I wear my Claytron headphones. It's like I become a robot. So I put my headphones on and I just focused on fixing this workflow, you know, and role playing it, and I kept finding errors. But it was 6 hours just to fix that. So I would say to fix your sales presentation, if you're doing marketing, if you're doing just your sales, maybe 2 weeks, you know. But if you're doing sales and marketing, I'm going to say about, 50 to 70 hours a week for about 7 weeks or so. I mean, just of intense, because you have to find out every way possible to not do it. Or you have to be unbelievable at assimilating data, study companies that are like yours, and figure out how they, what they are doing well and what they didn't do well. Do you like Orange Leaf?
I do like orange. I've actually never been to Orange Leaf. I've been to Cherry Berry.
Okay. I always am asking that.
Same thing.
God, why do I always ask that? Okay. Well, there's Cherry Berry. There's Orange Leaf.
Peach Wave.
Peach Wave. There's the Brown Raccoon. No, there's not. Ooh, I thought that was awesome.
What? The Brown Raccoon?
We're going to have to regroup here. Oh, man.
He's gonna go eat ice cream. Put in that intensity, the 50 to 70 hours a week for 5, 6, 7 weeks here. But how is it that our hair is on fire? How do we put the fire out?
The main thing you're going to want to do is just make sure that as an entrepreneur you have everything documented and you have accountability processes in place. Because you're always going to have a paranoia and a conspiracy theory about every part of your business unless you have accountability processes in place. I'm a huge fan of surveying the customer, so that way I know reality. I know if the customer's happy and I know if they're not. And I like to have checklists for everything, where on a daily all your employees fill out the checklist so you can make sure that they did the things they said they were going to do, as opposed to you just going, did you do that or not? I'm all about accountability. When I work with my business coaching clients, I love to email them a review of what was done, call them and tell them what was done when it was done, because as a general rule, you need to provide evidence that you've done that. And the only way that I can encourage you, if you have a business right now and you're like, oh my gosh, I wake up all the time in the middle of the night worried about things, I'm not sure if things are getting done, I hope that our team is delivering on what we said. You've got to have a checklist in place, and you've got to have, at the most basic level, accountability to make sure that people do what they said they were going to do.
There you have it. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always post them on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. You can always email Clay directly, clay@makeyourlifeepic.com. And Clay, if you would, 30 seconds, take us out here.
This week, as you guys are moving forward with your business and you're trying to get things going, I just want to encourage you that what you're working on with your business is worthwhile if you've kind of gone through this test. Okay, I'm just going to give you a little test you can go through. Think about how much money you want to make in a given year. Okay, write that number down. Now take that number and divide that by how much profit you make per customer. So if you make $1 per customer or $500 a customer or whatever that number is, divide that. Now if you think that this number you get, the number of customers you're going to need to serve this year to make that amount is doable, then it is worth it. And all the struggles, all the stress, all the drama, all the burning hair, all the things you're going through right now, it's totally worth it. And I want to encourage you to stay the course. Because if you're not careful, and if you turn the ship around, oh yeah, here it is, you turn it around, every time you encounter a little bit of frustration, you're never going to actually get anywhere. So I just want to encourage you this week, stay focused, put on the blinders, surround yourself with a group of people that can encourage you, and make sure that you just don't lose hope and lose faith. Because I'm telling you, now is your time. You know, the time's never really going to be just right. You got to do it right now. You're only going to live one time. So go out there, start that business, make it happen. And if anybody doesn't like like what you're doing or wants to not encourage you, offer them a nice warm glass of Haterade.
There you have it. Adventures in Entrepreneurship. We will see you next time.
So what's the difference between a successful business and one that is simply surviving? How do you train your salespeople to close the deal 90% of the time instead of 10% of the time? How do you motivate your team to exceed your clients' expectations every time without the use of a taser? The answer to these questions and more can be found right here at MakeYourLifeEpic.com. Here you will receive practical coaching, consulting, and training that will help you create and grow a thriving business. I hope that you will take advantage of the resources that we've made available on this site. Thank you for visiting MakeYourLifeEpic.com. And remember, the time will never be just right. Now is the time to make your life epic.